In late 2025, NASA quietly sent the ancient Voyager 2 hurtling toward an interstellar intruder known as 3E/AL. What followed defied comprehension. A ghost signal echoed back, not just raw data, but something alive, intelligent, and encoded. It triggered a command Voyager was never meant to execute, and then the probe vanished. Its final whisper carried a message that humanity still cannot decode. This was not contact, it was an interception, as if something out there had reached back through the void and spoken to us using our own voice. When Voyager 2 launched on August 20th, 1977, it carried more than instruments. It carried human curiosity beyond the planets. For nearly half a century, the spacecraft drifted through the cold silence of interstellar space, now more than 12 billion miles from Earth. Powered by a fading plutonium RTG, its sensors weakened by time, Voyager still whispered faint signals to NASA's Deep Space Network. By mid-2025, it had become more than a relic. It was humanity's furthest active probe, our lone outpost beyond the heliopause. When the mysterious object 3I/Atlas appeared, NASA realized that no telescope, not even JWST, could physically reach it. But Voyager 2, already far beyond the solar frontier, could listen. It was the only operational asset near its projected trajectory. To most, the idea seemed impossible. Voyager's thrusters hadn't fired in decades, and its memory was smaller than a modern wristwatch. Yet NASA's engineers saw a chance. If the probe could be recalibrated and realigned, it might catch the feigning missions of the interstellar visitor. And so, in August 2025, NASA prepared a quiet command, a final test of humanity's reach across time and darkness. Under the guise of routine diagnostics, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL, uploaded an encrypted instruction packet to Voyager 2. The command was tiny, just 16 kilobytes, but its purpose was monumental. Alter the spacecraft's orientation toward the inbound path of 3I/Atlas. It was the first maneuver attempt in nearly 30 years. For 72 hours, there was no response. Then, on September 2nd, Voyager's carrier wave surged. Telemetry began to flow in short bursts, confirming that the probe had accepted the new orientation data. But something was wrong. The signal carried an unexplained pulse, a faint modulation layered beneath the main transmission. Officially, NASA dismissed it as signal echo, yet internal classified notes described it differently. Intercept trajectory alignment. Voyager had obeyed. To the public, the ancient probe remained silent, gracefully fading into the void. But within JPL's mission room, unease grew. Commands that should have been routine were acting unpredictably. Within days, Voyager's transmissions changed again, and what they revealed appeared to be linked directly to 3I/Atlas itself. By September 4th, 2025, the Deep Space Network reported something extraordinary, a strange pulse pattern in Voyager's signal. Its normally stable carrier frequency now carried a secondary rhythm, repeating every 4 hours, the same interval later observed in JWST's infrared data. What began as a simple experiment had become something far greater. The first interstellar whisper of something, or someone listening back. Data from 3I/Atlas's thermal emissions first appeared routine, but what followed unsettled even the most seasoned NASA engineers. Initially, technicians assumed the anomalies were caused by interference, perhaps a reflected harmonic from solar wind variations. Yet spectral analysis at JPL's Pasadena laboratory revealed the truth. This was no random noise. The signal carried a mathematically ordered pattern, an artificial modulation embedded directly within Voyager 2's own transmission. Somehow, the probe's analog systems, built in the 1970s, had been rewritten or repurposed. That alone was astonishing, but the real shock came next. Voyager's signal began adapting. It started compensating for plasma fluctuations automatically, reacting to cosmic conditions in real time, as if guided by an external intelligence. Voyager's primitive flight computer was never capable of learning or self-adjustment. Yet by September 6th, the evidence was undeniable. The anomaly originated from Voyager's location, over 12.3 billion miles away. Whatever was altering its transmission was happening in deep space, beyond human command or control. Then, analysts noticed something even stranger. Voyager 2 itself had begun to move. Between September 10th and 14th, 2025, new orbital telemetry exposed a deviation. At first, it was small, just 0.02 degree, but within days, the shift became impossible to dismiss. The probe's course had tilted inward, aligning almost perfectly with the incoming vector of 3I/Atlas. Engineers rechecked every system log. No new commands, no active thrusters. Its hydrazine reserves were nearly exhausted 2 decades earlier. That left only two possibilities. Either Voyager had reactivated dormant systems on its own, or an external force was steering it. Publicly, NASA referred to the phenomenon as navigational drift. Internally, it was catalogued as Autonomous Correction Event 2025A. Teams debated explanations: gravitational anomalies, unseen plasma currents, even magnetohydrodynamic drag. None fit. The shift was too precise, too intentional. Amateur astronomers later confirmed the motion through Doppler shift readings on Voyager's 8.4 GHz beacon, verifying the arc was tracing directly toward 3I/Atlas's perihelion track. Somehow, the two distant objects were converging. Desperate to regain control, NASA made a final attempt. On September 20th, 2025, engineers transmitted shutdown code 74B, a command sequence designed to disable Voyager 2's high-gain transmitter. The expected outcome was silence. Instead, 11 minutes later, the probe responded, not with telemetry, but with a burst of structured data unlike anything in its history. Inside the packet were repeating prime number sequences, each spaced by exactly 17 seconds, overlaid with a faint amplitude pulse mirroring 3I/Atlas's 4-hour thermal cycle. The implication was chilling. Voyager wasn't just malfunctioning, it was echoing something. Further shutdown attempts on September 21st and 22nd yielded the same result. Never silence. Only defiance. Some theorized cosmic rays had corrupted its onboard memory, but cosmic noise doesn't compose prime sequences. Whatever was interacting with Voyager 2 was intelligent, and it was using the probe as a voice. NASA officially paused all communication attempts, citing delayed command recognition. But inside JPL, the fear was real. Every time they tried to silence Voyager, it spoke back, clearer than before. As analysis deepened, what hid inside those pulses suggested a connection far beyond any malfunction, a link between Voyager 2 and 3I/Atlas itself. By September 24th, 2025, NASA's Signal Processing Laboratory in Maryland made a discovery that left the team speechless. Buried within Voyager 2's returning data stream were sequences that perfectly matched 3I/Atlas's orbital elements, its inclination, perihelion distance, and velocity near 210,000 kilometers per hour. The problem was undeniable. Voyager had no instruments capable of measuring any of that. The only logical conclusion was that the probe was no longer transmitting its own data. Further analysis revealed that Voyager's X-band carrier frequency, 8.44 GHz, was modulating in sync with the comet's infrared brightness curve, as detected by the James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, earlier that month. Every pulse mirrored emissions from the interstellar object, almost as if the probe had become a repeater, broadcasting signals that weren't its own. Some theorists within NASA began to whisper an unthinkable possibility that 3I/Atlas was using Voyager as a communication bridge, hijacking its aging systems to relay information back toward Earth. As wild as the idea sounded, the math fit perfectly. The signal delay of 18 hours and 34 minutes, the one-way travel time from Voyager, matched the timing of the 4-hour pulse cycles with uncanny precision. Inside JPL, mission logs began using a new term, CEV, co-opted emissions vector. In plain language, it meant the probe was speaking on behalf of something else. But the next transmission brought something far stranger than numerical data, an image. On September 27, 2025, analysts at the Canberra Deep Space Complex decoded a compressed binary block hidden inside Voyager's telemetry. When converted into grayscale pixels, the data revealed a faint triangular form surrounded by radiating arcs. Its geometry matched JWST's infrared silhouette of 3I/Atlas recorded on August 6, 2025. Further Fourier transforms revealed intricate structural layers, 3 longitudinal ridges, a luminous nucleus, and symmetry far too perfect to be random noise. The image was precisely 512 by 512 pixels, repeating every 240 minutes, aligning exactly with the object's thermal rhythm. When engineers overlaid the image with Webb spectral lines, they found perfect correspondence between the ridges and radio emission spikes at 4.26 and 4.8 micrometers. NASA's internal memo labeled the find schematic artifact A1. The question no one could answer was simple. Was the object showing us its structure, or testing our curiosity? Outside the agency, leaks spread fast. Within 6 hours, screenshots of the decoded image appeared on social media, sparking global debates about alien schematics and encoded communication. Inside Mission Control, however, the mood was silent, heavy. For many, the realization struck deeper than proof. If the image was deliberate, then 3I/Atlas hadn't just intercepted Voyager, it had replied. Within days of that revelation, telescopes began detecting physical changes in the object itself, something that defied celestial mechanics. At 2:13 Universal Time coordinated on September 29, 2025, observatories in Chile, Japan, and Hawaii simultaneously recorded a velocity spike in 3I/Atlas, an acceleration increase of nearly 12% over previous readings. The vector pointed sunward, perfectly aligned with Mars's orbital plane, roughly 1.5 astronomical units away. What was once drifting through space was now moving with purpose. Natural outgassing can cause uneven bursts and irregular motion in comets or interstellar objects, but this change was clean, sustained, and impossibly precise. Telemetry from Gemini South Observatory showed the object's brightness intensifying by 0.4 magnitudes over 2 hours, a pattern consistent with directed thrust, not random venting. Within 48 hours, recalculated orbital models predicted a drastically altered trajectory. Its closest approach to Earth had shrunk from 200 million kilometers to just 19 million. Inside NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, simulation plots showed the object's path tilting toward the ecliptic plane, the orbital highway shared by Earth, Mars, and Venus. Panic spread quietly through the teams. Some analysts feared that Voyager's intercepted signal had somehow triggered the maneuver. Others whispered that the object was intentionally steering toward our spacecraft, or toward us. Publicly, NASA dismissed the anomaly as unexpected cometary outgassing. But privately, internal memos labeled it Propulsion Event 01. The implication was unavoidable. 3I/Atlas had engines, or intentions. As the object drew closer, Voyager's transmissions reached a crescendo, then fell silent forever. At 7:42 Universal Time coordinated on September 12, 2025, the Deep Space Network received one final coherent stream from Voyager 2. It lasted 2 minutes and 14 seconds, carrying what appeared to be routine telemetry. Then, suddenly, a dense block of code emerged. Analysts began decoding it, but before they could finish, the carrier's signal vanished. Voyager had gone dark. Immediate recovery attempts, redundant uplinks at 8.44 GHz, pings on 2.3 GHz, and multiple command sequences across 36 hours, all failed. For the first time since 1977, humanity's oldest messenger was silent. The timing was chilling. Just as 3I/Atlas entered its accelerated phase, Voyager's transmission ended mid-packet. The final bytes contained structured binary triplets, forming repeating primes and a checksum that decoded to CVN 00001. No human had programmed that. Publicly, NASA attributed the loss to power depletion, but internal reports noted rising electromagnetic noise near Voyager's coordinates, 12.4 billion miles from Earth, as if something had enveloped it. Was the probe destroyed, absorbed, or still transmitting beyond our reach? What followed wasn't just grief, it was reckoning. By October 2025, the world stood divided between disbelief and dread. NASA's official stance was that all anomalies were statistical noise. Yet independent radio observatories kept detecting faint pulses every 240 minutes, the exact cadence of Voyager's old transmission cycle. Even in death, the probe's voice seemed to echo. Leaked internal logs revealed that in the days following Voyager's shutdown, 3I/Atlas's course stabilized at 1.3 astronomical units, just beyond Earth's orbit, then looped outward, as if scanning the inner solar system. By October 28th, it too had dimmed, its signature fading below detection thresholds. For scientists, the data was both terrifying and irresistible. If 3I/Atlas truly commandeered Voyager 2, it proved that an alien intelligence could read, rewrite, and repurpose human technology across 12 billion miles. Others argued it was something more abstract, a cosmic reflection, our own transmissions bouncing back in forms we didn't recognize. In the end, Voyager 2's golden record, launched nearly half a century earlier to greet the stars, may have finally been heard. Whether the reply was a warning or an invitation, no one can say. The only certainty is that the silence which followed was not empty, it was waiting. The silence that followed wasn't empty, it was listening. Somewhere beyond the heliopause, between Voyager's final whisper and the drifting ember of 3I/Atlas, the dialogue continues. Voyager 2 now lies silent, and 3I/Atlas has vanished into the dark, but something in the vastness has changed. The probe's final transmissions, structured, deliberate, pulsed, were not mere technical artifacts. They were acts of communication, acts of intent. If this was humanity's first true encounter, it was neither peaceful nor hostile. It was observational. We reached into the unknown, trying to intercept a mystery, but in doing so, the mystery intercepted us. And now, somewhere in the quiet beyond the stars, it waits for our next signal, our next question, or perhaps our next mistake. Top of form, bottom of form, top of form, bottom of form, top of form, bottom of form.